that used to stand on the side was obliterated during the war.
So let us visit one of the devastated villages in the Verdun, Fleury-devant-Douaumont, to get a glimpse of the fighting and destruction of a village. Until the Great War, Fleury-devant-Douaumont was a peaceful, hard-working community. From the past, work reflected the passing seasons of the year. One day merged into the next with an alternation of seeing and harvesting, tree felling and grape harvesting. There were years of famine and times of prosperity. The invasions of 1792, 1814, and 1870 ignored these wooded hills where wolves could still be seen. There were farms and smithies, a bakery and a grocery cafe, a church and a school, a town hall and a weaver's workshop. Time seemed to have stood still in the village, but after 1870, it suddenly took a new, faster pace. The narrow-gauge Verdun-Douaumont railway passed through the village. Then came the construction of the redoubt de Souvy and other forts around the area, and the intermediate lookout posts, all which filled the streets with workers and soldiers. On August 1914, the population of 400 watched as regiments from Verdun marched through the village on their way to cover the front. In September, the Battle of the Marne brought the front to within just a few miles of the north and northeast of the village. In 1915, intact and full of troops, it was part of the fortified region of Verdun. On a snowy morning of February 21, 1916, the village was awakened by the shelling before the German attack. The horizon was ablaze, but the news were contradictory and scarce. Villagers were told to evacuate, and they left in their carts and led their livestock. The fall of the Fort Douaumont on the 24th brought the village within the sights of the German troops. The shelling pitted rooftops, while trenches and shelters turned cellars into centers of resistance. The destruction was to continue, and by May, all that remained of the village was a huddle of smoking ruins. On June 7th, the loss of Fort Vaux placed the village on the front line. This was the village's final agony, which lasted until August, when the last furious were launched along the front. During the battle, the village changed hands 16 times. The bitter fighting continued around the ruins, half concealed in the chaos of the battlefield. On August 17th and 18th, the French regiment, which had been fighting in the ruins for 10 days, were successful in recapturing the village. And by October, such offensives resulted in the recapture of Douaumont and Vaux. The land rendered so uninhabitable that officials decided not to rebuild it. As the land around the municipality was polluted with corpses, ammunition, explosives, and poisonous gas, it was deemed too contaminated for farming to resume. By 1918, Fleury-devant-Douaumont was a village that laid down its life for France, like 8 other villages on the Verdun front. However, the grateful nation left its legal status intact. It has a mayor and faithful followers. The village has been brought back to life. The Association Nationale du Souvenir de la Bataille de Verdun and the Office National des Forests have marked outlines of its streets and the site of its houses. Visitors can see the village fountain where laughter rang out while people fetched the crystal clear water. Since 1979, the statue of Our Lady of Europe looks down from the west front of the vital chapel, calling for fraternity and peace. The Verdun Memorial, on the other hand, was built on the site of the old railway station of the village. There, people can get a greater understanding of the suffering and misery of the men who took part on it. In memory of Fleury-devant-Douaumont, a street in Bavaria was named after it, for the German soldiers who fell here. So that's it for the history of the village, its tragic end, and rebirth. Until next time, bye! So guys, if you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and feel free to comment.
Hit the bell, hit the bell, hit the bell, hit the bell. Come on guys, hit the bell.
For notifications. And don't forget to share.
And like.